That's the reason why so many people died here, because it's in this area between Claiborne, which is right by that bridge, and Florida Avenue, and between this levee and the parish line. So we're not talking about too big of an area. Over 1,000 people died.
Oh my God.
Everybody in this area knows someone that barge that came through, it landed on the other side of this house here. People was in this house and on that house there trying to find shelter. You know, Robert lost his mother and his granddaughter, and his house moved from right here where Brad Pitt is building this new house here to Claiborne Avenue. You know, and this at 3 o'clock in the morning. This house just washed away. He rode, I mean, houses just floated away. You know, but who stayed? The people who stayed was basically ex-offenders. You know, guys, I'm talking about the men who stayed, who did the early rescues, that made sure that that nobody's houses was broken in, and most of them still cannot even find a job, which is one of the things that I'm working on now. You know, the area that a lot of people condemn me because I hang out in the area where it's nothing but ex-offenders. You know, but if I would abandon them, then everybody done abandoned them. You know, because nobody was there to offer them any type of support when they're the ones who really saved this city. Just about, I would say, 90% of the rescues that was done in this city that was done by those outside of the military and the state or city was ex-offenders. And with many of them, they was at risk of being shot because our governor had declared a dusk to dawn, shoot to kill curfew that only applied to blacks. You know, so I mean, then you had Jefferson Parish, Gretna, that wouldn't allow blacks into their parish. You know, if we was all leaving here, all 4 of y'all would be able to go into Gretna, but Kathy and I would be forced to come back here. And I mean, they wouldn't only allow Kathy and I as 2 adults, you know, or me as a man, saying, well, Kathy could go as a woman. They wouldn't even allow our babies. And you know, and with all this, the people who made sure that they was spared or was afforded water, ice, which is the reason why I bought that refrigerated truck. I mean, that van behind you. You know, a lot of people ask me, well, hey, why you buy a refrigerated van, a 45-foot van, and you don't have a trailer? I mean, you don't have a tractor to pull it. But I know this don't need a tractor. But I swore that if I was ever afforded the opportunity, I would never again be placed where those essentials, ice, a place where people could keep their medication refrigerated. You know, I mean, and all this was done by ex-offenders. You know, I seen guys that was doing rescues one minute, side by side with law enforcement. And then the next minute, they was arrested. You know?
I've read a lot about, not a lot, but about a few cases like that, yeah.
You know, in Algiers, which, you know, I really get down on, was a lot of the African Americans that live in that community. And I asked them, oh, who broke in your house while you was gone? You know? Oh, no, nothing was broken into. Why? Why no homes was broken into? Why no business was looted? And that's because individuals took it upon themselves to make sure that everyone that was there was afforded that type of safety. And now these guys can't even find a job in the midst of a construction boom. And most of the work that they do is construction. I mean, even if you look around here, you know, this is the African American community, but you don't see African Americans working. You know, I mean, we have one of the highest, you know, in this city, I would say unemployment among young African American males between 18 and I would say 35 is somewhere around 20 or 18 to 20%.
It's wild.
And again, this is in the midst of a construction boom. Public housing, they couldn't afford no residents in public housing, no assistance. But in most of your major housing development, they went door to door, the army, at gunpoint, forcing people out. As soon as they forced them out, they put steel plates on their windows, put barbed wire around a lot of the developments, and never allowed them to move back in. You know, but these was the communities that these guys represented. You know, and so I spend most of my time now on how we can organize them. How can we make sure that entrepreneurial and employment opportunities is offered to them? Maybe too late for to give them any type of award or something for what they have done. But I just try to work to make sure that their sacrifices, if nobody else would ever remember, that it's remembered by me, in the organization that we founded. You know?
I think this ties in a lot to what I'm studying. I'm studying restorative justice, and it's like an example of it. There could be many forms of it, but an example is like the Truth and Reconciliation Commissions, where it's like a public hearing between like the offenders and the victims, and how justice not on like on more of a restoring the community sense, so like truth telling and like this sounds silly, but like apologizing, just like recognizing.
I don't think it needs to be no apologies, because I'm gonna tell you, if I would walk over right now and bust you in your head with this cup and tell you I'm sorry, would you accept it? All right, so it is an idea, but I believe that it need to go further than what we call restorative justice.
Yeah, what do you see necessary?
I say the thing that's necessary, we need to look at what happened in South Africa after apartheid. Not trying to condemn anyone, but I believe that we cannot sweep what happened under the rug and expect it to go away. I believe that we need to analyze it. We need to dissect it. We need to bring everybody to the table. Those who was looting and those vigilantes that was killing. We need to bring everybody to the table. Find out why this happened. And then we go make sure that never again in America that a disaster turned into a tragedy. You know, and that was the thing that had the most profound effect on me, because it didn't have to happen. This disaster didn't have to turn into a tragedy.
So do you see it necessary for all these people to come together? And
I'm not saying they have to come together. I believe that as a mission needs to be established, one that any individual needs to be able to go before it, need to be able to testify of what they did, but not feeling that they are condemned if they say that, yeah, I killed someone.
it's more important, like telling the truth and like
Right.
getting it out
And
there.
then we could find out how can we avoid it again. I mean, the city created, and our media created the hysteria that destroyed New Orleans, that turned Katrina into a tragedy. Then we need to understand that why New Orleans flooded. You know, I mean, one of the things that scares me, like Miss LeBlanc, her house in between those two houses. But look how low the elevation is on that one, or the one over here. Those houses could not survive a hurricane. If you look around here, if you notice that any houses that survived the hurricane, it was like the Three Little Pigs. That's what I call it, the Three Little Pigs syndrome.